Welcome everyone to Scale to Win's webinar, GOTV Organizing and Scale to Win Text. My name is Kira and I'm a Client Success Manager here at Scale to Win. On the call with us to help answer your questions, we also have Grace O'Donnell, a Senior Client Success Manager, Lavilla Kappener, our Deputy Director of Marketing and Sales Enablement, and Peng Yang, a Senior Ops Manager. We're happy to have you here with us to talk through how to best make use of our texting platform for your Get Out the Vote work leading up to Election Day. We will cover every single step of building a text campaign, and we will highlight the features that can best help you engage voters, track data, and win your races. Whether you've texted in Scale to Win Text before, are brand new to the platform, or have yet to set up your account, this webinar will help you understand how to best use our tool for your Get Out the Vote work. During the webinar today, we'll start by navigating to an account's organization settings, which organization owners have access to. We'll then cover some sub-account settings, which organization owners and admins have access to. Then we'll build a campaign using the features we've set up, and I'll show you what text review looks like for the volunteers working with your campaign. We'll close the training portion by using our collected data to build a follow-up campaign and retarget contacts. Before we dive in, we have a few logistics to make note of. First, we have members of our team here to answer your questions in the Q&A box throughout the webinar. Please send your questions using the Q&A feature found on the Zoom menu, and we'll make sure to answer them. We'll also take some time at the end for questions to be answered live. Second, we'll be posting some resources in the Zoom chat as we reference features in Scale to Win Text. We have many support articles and short videos that you can refer back to whenever you need. Lastly, we will follow up in an email with the recording of this webinar and some resources created by our team to help you dig deeper into the features we cover today. Because today's webinar is all about GOTV organizing, we want to start by sharing some top-level tactics that have been proven to help mobilize voters and turn them out to the polls. The first tactic is to define your audience. Are you reaching out to folks who have interacted with your campaign before at events? Or are you pulling a list from the voter file of registered voters in your county? Make sure you're using the data available to you to filter your contact lists based on previous voting records or support for your campaign. Then you can tailor your messages according to your audience. If you don't have a lot of detailed data about the contacts you'll be texting, make sure you're prepared to start collecting data, such as supporter IDs and voting status. We'll show you how to do this in Scale to Win Text today. Second, GOTV research shows that social pressure works. This includes pointing out to voters that while it's a secret who they vote for, their voting history itself is public record. We'll show you a feature in Scale to Win Text that you can use to showcase a contact's voting record and encourage them to vote again. This is also a great way to personalize your messages to voters. When possible, sharing the public information associated with each specific voter can help apply that social pressure. Social pressure also includes leveraging the personal networks of your supporters. If someone has committed to voting for your candidate, can they take 3 friends and family members to the polls with them? And with whom will they share information about when, where, and how to vote? Finally, it's important to send reminders to your supporters to make sure that they actually get to the polls. We'll show you today how to send follow-up texts to your supporters, targeting folks who have not voted yet and reminding them to vote on Election Day. All right, let's dive in. I'm the organization owner for my Scale to Win Text account, and I've just logged in. I've already registered for my sending phone numbers, and now I want to get a few features set up before sending my first text campaign. I'm going to start by navigating to my initial in the top right corner, clicking and selecting Organization Settings. This is visible to me because I'm an organization owner in this account. From this left-hand side menu, I'm going to select Domain Names. From this page, you can get set up to use one of Scale to Win Text's unique features, in-house link shorteners. We created this feature so that you can send a shortened link in your texts rather than sending a long, clunky link to voters. Using public link shorteners also risks getting your texts flagged as spam by the phone carriers. You can find more best practices for texting with links in the support article that Lavilla is posting in the chat. Using the link shortening feature in Scale to Win Text also provides you with data on which of your contacts click on the link you've sent, and you can use this information to follow up with specific contacts in further text campaigns. You can request for Scale to Win to purchase a custom branded domain that you can use to shorten the links in your texts. That's right, we purchased the domain for you. There's no additional cost to use this feature. On this page, click Request Domain to get started. Type in the domain you'd like to use to see if it's available. We recommend requesting a new domain. It's quicker and more efficient to get set up. The domain cannot currently house content. In other words, it can't be a link that currently directs to a website. You can use the same short link for every link you include in your initial messages. You don't need to request a new domain each time. Once you've found the domain you want to request, you'll also submit a fallback URL. On the off chance that you ever accidentally send a broken link in your texts, this will ensure that contacts still get taken to a real website if they click the short link. The fallback URL can be your real website. Once you click Request Domain in this pop-up window, Scale to Win staff will set up the domain for you and let you know when it's ready to use. Typically, we get these turned around within 1 to 2 business days. In the Organization Settings menu, organization owners also have access to a few other tabs. On the Subaccounts page, you can add new subaccounts from which you can send text campaigns. On this People page, you can invite more organization owners to your account. On the Opt-outs page, you can add contacts that should be opted out across your entire account, including all subaccounts. You can also search for a phone number to see if a specific contact is opted out. You can view all usage in your account on the Usage page, and you can see some top-level metrics on the Analytics page that are cumulative across your entire account. While you're waiting for your short link request to be fulfilled, you can continue to prep for text campaigns by navigating to the subaccount that you want to text from. I'm going to click on the Subaccounts tab on the left-hand side menu. This page shows me all the subaccounts in my account. I'll find the name of the subaccount I want to text in and click on the arrow on the right-hand side. Once I'm in my subaccount, I can see a new menu of tabs on the left-hand side. These tabs are also available to anyone who is an admin in this subaccount. First, on the People page, you can add new admins, super volunteers, and texters to your subaccount. In order for someone to send replies or take action on conversations in your text campaigns, they'll first need to be added as a user in your subaccount. On the Integrations page, you can set up integrations with ActionKit, Google Cloud Storage, ActBlue, and NGP Van. You can see that I've connected my subaccount to my NGP Van account. This allows me to load contact lists from my NGP Van account into a text campaign and sync data I collect back to the voter file. In order to sync data, such as Canvas results, activist codes, and survey responses, you'll need to set up tags in your subaccount. You'll create all tags for your subaccount on this tags page. You won't be able to create tags during the campaign build process. On this page, you'll click New Tag to create your tag. You'll name it and you'll save it. If you're not syncing data back to Van, you can use tags just like this and download the data for each campaign in which contacts were tagged. You can also build follow-up campaigns to retarget contacts who were tagged in a specific way, such as supporter. Using tags will help you refine your GOTV universe to make sure you're only continuing to text folks who are going to support your campaign and vote for your candidate. If you do want to add a Van sync to this tag, you can click on the pencil icon on the right-hand side and then click Add a Van integration. You'll select the side of Van that you want to sync this data back to, and then select the specific type of data that you want to sync back. You'll then fill in the specific piece of information that should correspond to this tag. Then you'll click Save. Tags can be applied to contacts without sending a response script. However, you can also attach one or multiple tags to the response scripts in your subaccount. On the Response Scripts tab, you can create response scripts in your subaccount that can be easily added to any new campaign. This allows you to skip the step of manually writing a response to each contact, especially if you expect similar replies from your contacts that will require a similar type of follow-up response. This will also help standardize the responses that your volunteers will be sending to voters. You can even set up responses to be triggered by a keyword and automatically sent to contacts if you don't have volunteers working with your campaign. Response scripts are organized by response group, which indicates the category for these responses. I'll make one called Supporter ID. I'll make sure that this is toggled to the right so that this set of response scripts is added to any new text campaign in my subaccount by default. Once I've created my response scripts, I can also easily import them into a text campaign if I don't enable the group to be added by default. Next, I'll build my response script by clicking Add Response. I'll give this script a title that indicates when I should use this response script, and then I'll fill in the script itself. I'll apply the appropriate tag to correspond with this response script and add it to the appropriate response group. I can also add keywords to my response scripts that will trigger them to be automatically sent to a contact if the contact sends in a specific message. For example, I could say in my initial message, reply support if you're voting for candidate X, and set this response script to be triggered by the keyword support. Keywords are not case sensitive, but they are spelling and punctuation sensitive, so you can add a few variations of this keyword to capture the multitude of responses you might receive from contacts. Then you'll click Add. You also have the option to import multiple response scripts via a Google Sheet if you'd prefer to build your response scripts outside of the tool. To use this feature, click Import Responses, and then click Use this template to make a copy of our Google Sheet template. You can then customize this sheet with your response groups, your tags, and your response scripts. The tags in this sheet must already be created in your subaccount before you attach them to response scripts here. This is a great feature to use if you need to send your response scripts to another staffer on your campaign for their review and approval before you add them to your texting subaccount. Once you've added your response scripts to this sheet, you'll share this Google Sheet with the email customer-imports@scaletowin.com, and then you'll copy the URL for this sheet and paste it into the pop-up window in the tool. Then click Start Import. You'll see that my response scripts have now populated under the appropriate response group with their associated tags. Next, I'm going to create a personalized GIF template that I can send to contacts in a campaign. On the Personalized GIFs page, I can click New Personalized GIF to browse the templates that our lovely design and developer teams have created. Because I know that GOTV research shows that social pressure works to help mobilize voters, I'm going to select the voter record list template so I can send contacts their voting history to help encourage them to vote again. This is also a great example of personalizing my message with information specific to each voter. I'm going to give this template a name, and then I'll fill in the required fields. For call to action, I'll write, vote for X on November 4th. Then I'll add some fallback information. This will be used in case one of your contact's data entries for this field is blank. So if you don't know if a contact voted in 2022, you can still generate the GIF with data. When I click Next, I'll see a preview of the GIF, and I also have the option to update the colors to match my campaign logo. I'll submit this customized GIF template so that when I build my campaign, I can add this GIF to my initial message. GIFs are currently charged as MMS messages. Lastly, before I start sending my text campaigns, I'm going to set up an escalation inbox on the Inboxes page. This feature allows texters and other users in my sub-account to send conversations to designated users who are equipped to handle certain topics. This could be for voter protection issues if you have a voter protection specialist on your campaign, or for Spanish speakers if you have Spanish-speaking staff and volunteers working with you and you aren't already sending your campaigns in Spanish. On the Inboxes page, I'll click New Escalation Inbox and give this escalation inbox a title. Then I'll assign the specific users to this inbox. Only these users will be able to respond to or take action on these escalated conversations. Then I'll click Add Escalation. Before we switch gears to building a campaign, I want to briefly touch upon the rest of these sub-account tabs. On the opt-outs page, you'll see the various types of opted-out contacts in your account and sub-account. You can upload lists of phone numbers on this page that you'd like to permanently or temporarily opt out of texts in your sub-account. On the phone numbers page, you can submit a 10DLC registration. And on the usage page, you'll see calculations of the SMS and MMS messages sent in your sub-account within a certain time frame. The analytics page will give you an overview of some of the key metrics from your campaigns, such as average reply rate and number of conversations across all campaigns in your sub-account. If you're using an ActBlue webhook integration, you'll also see a fundraising tab on this page, which will show you metrics like ROI for campaigns in which you've raised money through ActBlue. Finally, on the sub-account settings page, I can set up my default texter settings and my link shortening settings. I can also add phone numbers that I will send preview text to when I am building my text campaigns so that I can make sure my messages deliver before texting my full contact list. Okay, I've added users to my sub-account, I've set up my tags, response scripts, and escalation inboxes, and my phone number registration has been processed. I'm ready to start texting. First, I'll navigate to the campaigns page. When you create a new campaign, the platform will guide you through building your campaign step by step. We'll give this campaign a name, and then we'll enable the van integration. I can also see and adjust the texter settings for this campaign. The batch size is the number of conversations that a texter can be assigned at one time, while the assignment duration shows how long a texter has to take action on those conversations before they're released for other texters to claim. You can also set the campaign's texting hours. On step 2, your sending number will fill in with your default phone number. You can have multiple phone numbers in your subaccount and even request phone numbers with different area codes if you're texting into different parts of the country. I'm going to load a contact list from a CSV file. The CSV file must contain the first name and phone number information for my contacts. Mine also contains van IDs since I'm integrating with van for this campaign. I'll load my contact list, and then I'll move on to step 4 to make sure that the contact fields in the tool are correctly mapping to the columns in my CSV file. This allows me to pull in data for each contact when I write my initial message. I'll also make sure that my sample contact is filled in with a contact's information. This will allow me to populate a preview text with a sample contact's information so I can see what my text will actually look like to my contacts. On step 5, I don't need to suppress any contacts in this campaign, but in the future, I might keep a list of phone numbers associated with supporters of my campaign who don't want to be texted until election day. I also have the option to suppress contacts from my campaign that are found in other text campaigns I've created in my subaccount. I can suppress these contacts based on a number of criteria, including whether they replied previously or with the tag that was applied to them in previous campaigns. Okay, now it's time to write my initial message. First, I need to add in my sender identification. This will tell my contacts where this message is coming from. I also need to add in my opt-out language so contacts know that they have the option to be removed from future text campaigns. These two pieces of information are required in every initial message. Now I can add in the rest of my message text. I'm going to use data from my contact list to populate my messages with each contact's first name. I also want to ask people if they're supporting my candidate and let them know that early voting is already happening. This will allow me to follow up with the right contacts on election day, and I know that asking a question in my message will encourage a response from contacts, which can increase the engagement with my texts. I'm also going to include a link in my text to the website where contacts can learn more about the platforms and issues my candidate supports. I'm going to use the link shortening feature to shorten this long link in my texts so that my contacts actually see a shortened link when they receive my message, and I can track who clicks on the links in my text. As I've been typing my message, you may have noticed that the segment and character counter has adjusted based on the length of my message. Right now, with no media files attached, this is an SMS message. You can always upload a photo, a video, or a GIF to convert your message to an MMS message. Once you attach a media file to your message, the segment counter will disappear and you'll see the character count will be out of 1,800 total characters. I'm going to add my personalized GIF template to my initial message, which will show the voting history for each voter. Voting history is public information, and highlighting this data for each contact adds to the social pressure, encouraging this voter to show up to the polls. Now that I've crafted my message, I can see how my message will look to contacts under this Message Preview tab. I also want to test my message to make sure that it delivers to my phone and that the link works. I'll save this message at the bottom of the page, and then click Send a Preview Text. I'm going to select the phone number I saved on my settings page earlier, and I'm going to add the phone number of a colleague of mine. You aren't charged for preview texts, but contacts can't reply to these messages. I'll check the delivery status. I can see that these messages have sent, and when I refresh, I can see that they both delivered just fine, so I'm ready to move on to the next step. On my response script step, I can see the supporter ID response group I created earlier. During the campaign build, I also have the option to create response groups and scripts that are unique to the campaign I'm creating. I'm going to create a new response group in this campaign so I can capture information if somebody tells me that they voted early. I'll add a specific response script to this group for someone who specifically voted early. I'll apply the appropriate tag to track this information and add this response script to the appropriate response group. Then I'll move on to my tags step. The tags that are attached to response scripts will already be imported into this campaign, but I also want to have the option to track wrong number data without sending a reply. I'm selecting that tag and I'm going to import that here. Now it's time to start this campaign and send my messages. Clicking Start Campaign doesn't send my messages, but it takes me to the campaign landing page where I'll first generate my personalized GIFs. I also have the option to send more preview texts on this page. When I click the Send drop-down menu, I have the option to send this campaign to a portion of my contact list or to my full list. I also have the option to schedule this campaign to a portion of or my full list. I'm going to send this to my full list. Once replies start populating, I'll see the reply rate, the opt-out rate, and the click rate adjust here. If I'm using an ActBlue webhook integration, I'll also see the total amount raised and the ROI for this campaign. While replies are populating, I'm going to copy and share this texter link with the users in my sub-account that I want to reply to conversations. When I click on this link and open the texter page, I'm taken to a page where I can request conversations to handle. Once I make my request, I can scroll through these conversations and take action on them. I'm able to open my response scripts, apply tags, and see contact details for this contact, and even take notes about a conversation. I can also escalate conversations to my escalation inbox. And while Scale to Win Text has a number of responses that will trigger a contact to be automatically opted out, I can also manually opt someone out if their response was so creative that it didn't get captured by the auto opt-out feature. For this conversation, I have someone indicating their support, so I'm going to find my supporter response script and select it, which will also select the associated tag. And I'm going to send that response script, which saves that tag for this contact. Now that my replies have been handled, I'm going to return to the campaign landing page. Here I can download my campaign data by clicking Export in the top right corner. This takes me to two types of export options. The first is the campaign results file, which includes tags, clicks, and opt-out data for each contact. The campaign replies file includes the content of all messages in this campaign alongside the associated contacts. I've generated the campaign results export, and now I can download it right from this page. Now that I've downloaded my data, I'm going to archive this campaign so that it's removed from the texter view and texters no longer have access to conversation threads within it. When I navigate back to my texter view, I can see that that campaign is no longer accessible to me. However, as an organization owner or an admin or a super volunteer in this sub account, I can still review the conversations in an archived campaign from my threads page. Here, I can filter to find conversations based on the campaign status, such as archived campaign. I can also clear that filter and filter to conversations that just need a response in my sub account. Or I can filter to look for conversations that were handled by a specific texter. When I open conversations in this threads page, I'll once again see the option to select response scripts, apply tags, view contact details, and see the contact history for this contact. So all of the campaigns in which this person has been texted in this sub account. Now that I've collected data about supporters using tags, I can send a follow-up campaign on election day reminding my supporters to vote and asking them to take their friends and family to the polls too. I'm going to call this campaign Election Day Follow-Up and select my van integration. On step 3, I'm going to use the follow-up campaign method and find that campaign that I previously texted. I'm going to filter that contact list to follow up with contacts who were tagged as supporters. Then in my initial message, I can include the polling location lookup tool for my county and ask my supporters to take their friends and family members with them to the polls. Later on, once I've collected data with more tags about who voted in this election, I can reach back out to them after I've won my election and thank them for their vote. Simple and efficient, I've launched my GOTV campaign.